Hi, boys and girls. In reading, we're going to take one more day to look at a fable because it's been kind of wonky with all these snow days and then the 100th day. I don't feel like we've had very many fable days in a row. So I want to just do it one more time and kind of revisit what we've already talked about. So a fable is a type of a fiction story where the animals act like humans. It teaches you a moral or a lesson, and there's trickery in it. So we've already read two. The first one we read was The Tortoise and the Hare. And then we already talked about this page with that book. But then you read a second book, or I read you a second book. It was called The Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. But we haven't had a chance to go over that story yet. So I want to go over that story, and then I'm going to read you another story. And then tomorrow we'll talk about a different type of fiction story, like a different genre. So in the story of the wolf in sheep's clothing, the main characters would definitely be the wolf. You could include the sheep, and then there's definitely the farmer. I would say the wolf and the farmer are two of the most important characters in that story. The setting would have been, you could say outside. I would say in a sheep herd or in a flock, or maybe even in their little like cage or fenced in area, their pen. The problem, you could say there's a couple of problems. But the problem was that the wolf wanted to catch the sheep by dressing up like them, right? He couldn't get the sheep. And so he tried dressing up like them. So there was that problem. Well, then you could talk about the other problem, which was that that the farmer even thought he was a sheep, right? And so then he ended up getting eaten instead of him eating a sheep. So it was a big mess. So the lesson learned here, right, was don't pretend to be somebody that you're not, because that doesn't end up working out well for you in the end, because we need to be honest, right? So that is a great story. That can tell you to remember, like, if your friends are acting one way, but that's not who you are, you don't have to act like them also. You can be your own person. So all of these fables teach us great lessons. Okay, I'm going to read you one more fable. This one is called The Lion and the Mouse. And then you're going to fill out one more of these pages on this fable before we do our other type of story tomorrow. So here we go. One afternoon, a tiny mouse woke up from a nap. He left his house in search of a snack. There he is. The little mouse closed his eyes and sniffed. How good the world smelled. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself in front of the snout of an enormous snoring lion. Ah! That's not going to be good. The mouse tried to sneak away, but his tiny shadow crossed the lion's face. And the lion woke up and gave a tremendous yawn. How scary all those teeth were. Ah. It looks like I've been awakened by a snack, the lion said. He trapped the mouse's tail under his large paw. Can you see? He's got it trapped. Have mercy, begged the mouse. You are the king of the forest, and I am just a humble little creature. You are right, said the lion. I am the king of the forest, and since you have found me in a good mood, I give you your freedom. Oh, thank you, your majesty, the mouse replied. And if one day you should need my help, I will offer it with all my heart. The lion began to laugh. Ha, ha, ha! How can such a tiny creature help me? Can you help me to hunt? No, answered the mouse. Don't worry, little one. You have your freedom. You owe me nothing. The lion disappeared into the forest, but the mouse could still hear his laughter. Ha, ha, ha. The mouse soon smelled a delicious fruit and went back to his search for a snack. This time, the mouse kept his eyes open while he followed his nose. Then he heard a strange noise. The mouse went back along the path he had followed. He found the lion trapped in a net. "I'll help you," shouted the mouse. The lion could barely hear the mouse's tiny shouts. "What can you do, little one?" asked the lion. "It is better for you to run away before the hunters return and catch you too." But the mouse stayed. He climbed up into the tree and chewed at the net. His teeth were not as large as the lion's, but they were very sharp. In a short while, the lion leaped from the net. "Free at last!" "You were right, my small friend," said the lion humbly. "You were able to help me in my moment of need. I owe you my life." "Don't worry, your majesty," said the mouse. "You have your freedom. You owe me nothing." And the king of the forest and his new friend disappeared into the trees together. "You didn't think I could help you," the mouse said, "but an act of kindness is never wasted." So, think about this book. Who would you say the characters are? That part's pretty easy. What's the setting? Where are they at? Think about how that might be important to what happened in the story. What's the main problem? You could maybe talk about two problems. They both kind of ended up with a problem. And then what was the lesson that was learned? Who learned the lesson, the mouse or the lion? Think about that. They usually kind of talk about it at the very last sentence. Okay, so there you go, your last fable before we do something different another day.